Welcome back to Arcade. I am Super Tommy, and in this video we are going to make a Sokoban puzzle game, a push box game if you're familiar with that. We're going to use the assets from Kenny. So you go to kenny.nl, that is KENNEY.nl. Kenny has a whole bunch of amazing, great free assets you can use, 2D and 3D. And so you can get his Sokoban assets from his website. You can just search Sokoban. And it is this set that we're going to use. So you see he's got this character and these boxes and these tiles. So if you're familiar with Sokoban, it is a Japanese puzzle game, I believe. And the goal is to, you can see here, is to push these boxes into the correct color dot on the floor. So you need to basically move all the boxes into the right place in as few steps as possible. So we will actually, we already download this, and there is, I think, Sokoban Online. There is some websites, yes, Sokoban Online. We can play some of these games to get a feel for it. So let's see, go to play. We'll just do, I think they call them lessons in sokobanonline.com. So lesson 1.1, for example. You see we push, 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 push. Ta-da. So that was 10 steps, and I believe best steps was 10 steps according to this game. And so we're going to make this type of game where you can make your own levels and share them with your friends. So let's, we'll close this for now. I'm going to make myself a little bit smaller here. Put it down here. So we've got a project set up. It uses TypeScript, and it's from the the Phaser 3 parcel template that you can see right here. If you have a different project set up, that's totally fine. It should work. Everything we're going to talk about should work the same way as long as you have a running project already. We're using TypeScript. If you are using modern JavaScript, the code should be basically the same. You just delete all the types. We'll try not to use anything that is TypeScript specific that can't be translated to modern JavaScript. So, but if you want to follow along exactly, go to our GitHub. That's github.com/arcade. Find the Phaser 3 parcel template. You can clone it. Run these instructions, and then you can then follow along. So there's that. So we do have it running, so it's blank right now. So first thing we're going to do is actually add our assets to this game. So we have our Kenny assets already set up here. We're going to use the command line to copy files over. You definitely don't need to. You can use your regular Window Explorer, Mac Finder. So we're just going to create in our project here a public folder. Now, if you are not using the Phaser 3 parcel template from the Arcade GitHub, this may be different. But in our project setup, any files in the public folder will get copied over to be used by the web server. So we're going to make a public folder and then an assets folder. So we're going to take the Sokoban tilesheet.png. Now if you download from Kenny, you should get it in the tilesheet folder. He's got a PNG folder, a tilesheet folder, and I think a spritesheet folder. So we're just going to copy over this command line cp, and we're going to copy this to where we have our Sokoban project. Boom. So here. So this is what the tile sheet looks like. So that's simple. I'm going to go back to our running project here. So we're going to rename this game. So this scene is going to be the game scene. Yes. Game in our scenes folder, main. We'll call this game. For now, we're just going to launch our game scene. It's the first thing. All right. So that is still working. So now let's preload. So we're going to preload this as a sprite sheet. So we're going to do this dot add nope, this tile load dot sprite sheet. Now, for loading a sprite sheet, give it a key. We'll call these tiles. So we have it in assets / Sokoban tilesheet dot png. So we do have some frame configs here. Let's actually collapse that. Some more room. All right, so this is the tile sheet setup. So we have some configs. So we are going to say, so we know that our the assets here, these candy assets, these are all 64 by 64 tiles. You can actually open it up and just measure it in any sort of program that can open graphics or pictures, Photoshop or GIMP or Pixelmator if you're on the Mac. So 64, and then we're going to call start frame 0. Okay, so what this means is, you see in these tiles, this is 0, make it bigger, this is 0, top left corner is 0, and then as you go 1 over, 64 pixels over, this is 1, 2, 3, etc. until I believe there's 13 on this row, and then it wraps back around, so this would be 14, or actually 12 probably, because it's a 0 index, so I think it's 1 through 13. There's 13 total tiles on this row, and then so this would be 0, this would be 12, this would be 13. Let's go back to our game scene. So now we've loaded this sprite. So the first thing we're going to do, we just test that we loaded the sprite sheet correctly. We are going to pick a sprite from it and load it. So 0 is nothing, we don't want to load 0, so we can load 1, let's say. So we're going to go this dot add dot image dot add dot image, and then we are going to stick it at 400 300, let's say. The texture we're going to use is this tiles, so the full tiles sprite sheet that we loaded, and the frame we're going to use is 1. Let's see, oh no, yes, we're passing in a frame, so that's 1. Okay, so there it is, as you can see. So we're basically taking pieces from the tile sheet that we've loaded and displaying it. So now we know that this tile sheet has loaded and it's working. So now, to make a Sokoban game, you see that there's basically a world created with tiles. Now we could use a program like Tiled, but in this particular video, we're gonna just use the basic building blocks of an array of numbers. So you could use Tiled, but just so that we understand how things actually work at the very basic level, we're gonna do this with an array of numbers. So first, let's go, we're gonna call this level, let's say, and it's gonna be an array of arrays. So let's just look at the phaser docs, so you can see where we're getting this information from. We're not just conjuring out of the air or making it up, because that would be useless. So we're gonna make a tile map. Let me search tile map. Probably the class that we wanted. Tile map, come on. Tile map. Class tile map. So map data, I think. So we're gonna do this dot add, or this dot make rather, this dot make dot tile map. Here, so this is the, okay, tile map config. Keys data, so data is going to, this is what we're gonna need, is data. We're gonna pass in data into this make tile map function. And so it is a 2D array of indices, which is an array of integers. So what we're gonna do, so 0, if you recall, is this top left here, so it's blank. So let's say, what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So let's say 8, and then we're going to 0, so let's just put 1 here. All right, so this is just very simple. single line. So let's make our map. So this dot make dot tilemap. So this is the config right here. So let's see, key, we don't have a key, we have data, which is level. And then we need to specify tile width and tile height. Tile height, so 64, tile width, 64. I prefer writing width before height. Doesn't really matter, just for my own reading. We can hide this again. Okay, so we're gonna make a tile map with the data with this size. Okay, so there's the map, and then from the map we can make a tile set. We need to add a tile set based on the sprite sheet that we've loaded. So let's see. Tile set name, I believe we can just use tiles, and this is the same key that we loaded that in as. Let's go with that. We already specified stuff up there. Okay, so that's the tile set image. Now we can make this tiles, and we can make a layer. So let's go map dot create static layer. So layer ID, let's see. I don't think we don't actually have an ID, or we can just give it one, so we'll call it 0. We're going to use this tile set that we just created right above, and a position. So we're going to start at 0, 0. So it's the top left of the game. So 0, 0 will be right here. Let's see what it does. Oh, here we go. So what this is this level that we set right here, right? So in our current level, we only have one row of 1, 2, 4, 6, 8 squares, tiles. And then we make our tile map out of the level that we defined up here. Then we make a tile set image. We add a tile set image, which is what we loaded here in the very beginning and preload here, our original Sokoban tileset.png. Then we make a static tile layer, and there we have it on the screen. So now we can basically go here, adjust this 2D array, so we can add more rows, right? So let's see, we added 4 more rows. We should just have this thing repeated right down the middle there. And so let's see, so this 8, let's just say we want to make it 8 by 8. So what do we got here? 2, 4, 6, 7. So now we have 8 by 8, and we don't have to specify 0, 0 here. We can make it, we can center this if we wanted to. So since we know it's 64, 8 times 64, well, we want to do 4 times 64. We know the total, let me just guess. You can do some math if you would like. So if we do 128, 128, far, at least for the at least for the height. So 64. So that's a bit more centered, although I guess probably 32 would work. Yes. So for just nicety, we can make this 512, and let's see, what's a round number near 800? I'll whip out my calculator here. Let's see, 800 divided by 64, that's 12. So 12 times 64, 960, that's too big. Let's go with just 10. Obviously that's 640. Okay. Bring this back to 0. Yeah, there we go. So this is the size of our game. It's going to be 10 tiles wide by 512, 64. I don't actually know. 512 divided by 64. 8. 8 tiles. Well, I know this. I just did this. 8 tiles tall. Okay, so that's setting up the tile. So let's actually go here. So we're gonna actually pick the correct wall. So in Sokoban, we can use a wall. So let's go with this one over here. This one at the bottom row here. So we know it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The 8th row, and we know 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So it's going to be, so what we can do is more calculator. So it's 13 across, and we want, the whole thing is 8. So we just want 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So times 7, 91 is over here roughly, right? And then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we add 10 to 91, 101. So it's 0 base index, so it's 100. So that is, so right here is 100. That guy, we use that brown wall. And so we can do 100, so just to test it. And there it is, there's the brown wall. So let's just say for this particular level, we're gonna go 100, go 100 all down here, 100, too many commas. Okay, and then, okay, stop copying the comma. I'm gonna go 100 along the floor. And then 100 along the wall here. So we can just make this a little easier to read. So in VS Code, what we can actually do is highlight the comma, press Command or press Windows Control D. It'll copy all the other commas. Just to make this go a little bit faster here. Okay, now we have multi-cursor movement. And so let's see, 1, 2, 3. Okay. Let's fix these. We should have done it before we put in these hundreds, but as is. So, and of course, another way that we can do this is with a CSV file, which we can definitely go over. For now, we're going to leave it in the code. So you can basically create CSV files and then load them in that way. Okay, so now we're going to want get this formatting a little bit better. Easier to visualize what's going on here. Now let's see. We didn't do this one. There we go. So as you can see, this is easier to read. So we know we have 100 along the side, 100 along the bottom. And so we're going to make these 100, just 1,000. And let's make the top as well, so that we're basically going to enclose this level with a wall border. And we're going to get rid of these. We don't need these index 1 tiles. Okay, so I guess we actually would want it a little bit bigger. So let's see. So let's make it bigger. So this is about 2 more over. So this would be 100. And this would be 100. Great. Just add 1 more. Oops. Let's close this. I'm going to do one more column. We're going to add to this level. Set this. Okay, so now we should have full bounding walls along the game edges. Okay, so now let's go back to this tile sheet. We're gonna make a very simple level. We're just gonna pick a color. What's a good color? Let's see, blue, green, blue. Let's go with blue. So we have 1, 2, 3. So we know it's 13 times 3, which some of you could do. I think it's 39, right? Can I do math? No, 93. No, 39. Okay. And blue, where here is 13, so I guess we could just times 4. So it's 52, so 51 is the index. So let's just right here, 51. So there's the blue. Now let's pick a blue box, which is up here. So this is 13, 12, 11, 12, 11, 10, 9. So I'm going to go with 9. Let's just say 9. That's green. I counted wrong. Oh no. 0 index. So 8. 8. Okay, so there we go. So now we have this level set up. So the game is very simple. We're going to push this blue box over the blue dot. Now that's it for this video. Come back in the next part and we're going to add a character using these frames right here to make our little man be able to walk around and change animations based on which way he's facing.